Hour 2 Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, Dave Feschuk of the Toronto Star in here. The O-Dogs down at the rink. Panel night tonight. Yeah. Big night. Hall of Fame game. Duffy will be in fine form, doing his thing. Right? JD will be down there. The whole panel's down there. It's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
This is great that it's a Canadian matchup, too. It feels like they play Jersey every year on Friday night, this game. I feel like I remember them playing Jersey back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say they played Carolina. I mean, it's going to change every year, but I like the idea of Lanny McDonald's in town playing a huge role for the Hall of Fame, and these are his two teams.
That's great.
Right? I would think Lanny will be kicking around tonight. I wonder if he'd wear the Maple Leaf alumni jacket.
Oh, he's wearing the Hall of Fame jacket.
Probably Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you don't choose a side at that point. You just, the Hall of Fame, and you got the stash rolling and shaking hands. He's got the big hands, and, it's almost like he's handing you 5 bananas. He's got the big, like the
massive,
Pat Quinn hands.
Yeah.
Big,
Massive hands.
Good guy, though.
Great
Fantastic.
guy, yeah. Great guy. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be down in the alumni box with Lanny kicking around, and I feel like he was wearing a Maple Leaf alumni jacket that night, but maybe it was around Hall of Fame and he was rocking the the Hall of Fame's a different level.
Yeah.
Obviously, alumni jacket's incredible, and if you're lucky enough and you worked hard enough to make it to the NHL and you have one, that's a jacket of significance,
of course,
as we like to call it. But the Hall of Fame, I kind of hope that O's wearing his alumni jacket and Lanny walks in with his Hall of Fame jacket just to punk him, right? Just right over top of your alumni jacket, a Hall of Fame.
You think O's wearing his alumni coat tonight?
Yes, I do.
For the game.
Yeah, I'll
on
bet
the
you
panel.
on the panel and at the game. He's got it. I don't think he should step foot in that rink without wearing the alumni jacket.
Probably right.
Really?
Yeah, I think he loves that jacket. He should. He deserves to.
But I mean, Lanny's not if Lanny shows up in his Hall of Fame jacket, he's got a good reason. It's Hall of Fame weekend,
right? And he's in the Hall of Fame, and he's a big shooter. He runs the whole operation down there.
But I guess O would say he has a reason to show up. He's an Leaf alumni, so he's got to wear the coat.
That's right. Do you think Henrik Lundqvist will come out dressed like Eddie Belfour?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it be great if
pair of jeans and what did Eddie have? Jeans and a leather coat.
Eddie had a leather jacket. He had a bar shirt on, like a checkered plaid shirt.
That was great.
Jeans and boots. Man, that
was a great appearance.
It's it's got to be my favorite moment in ceremony history. And I've been lucky to be there for a lot of them, and there's a lot of great ones. Not only in Toronto, I've been on the road. I've been at the Bell Center for opening night when they did the lighting of the flame.
They do a great job.
They do a great job.
Torch. Yeah.
Nothing will ever beat Ed Belfour in bar gear at the Hall of Fame.
That's great.
Nothing better, ever.
I think he didn't get the memo. Like, I think everyone wasn't Dougie out there.
Yeah,
everyone
Dougie had a three-piece, man. Doug Gilmour looked like $1 million.
I mean, that's on brand for Eddie, right? Like he's a hot rod car
loving.
Look
at Eddie. Look at that.
I mean,
I love
Carmen, Manitoba, baby.
Yeah,
he loves his cars. He loves his leather.
Well, love it. What a great that's Newendike, Gilmour. Is that Mark Howe?
Yeah,
I think that's Mark Howe and Eddie Belfour. I mean, that's a great class.
What a class!
Yeah. And Dougie looks like $1 million. Got a butter suit, a great tie, great shirt. Newendike looks great. And Eddie Belfour looks like he has big plans post-game where he's hitting King
At the
West.
Loose Moose. He's going to the Loose Moose right on front there.
That's awesome.
Like, he's not going to a club. He is going to belly up at a bar somewhere and have a great time downtown. And listen, you're a Hall of Famer. You can do whatever you want.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I don't know. I think if he wanted a do-over, he'd go. Because wouldn't somebody say something too? You come rolling in don't you think they all have handlers? They all have PR people from the Hall of Fame. Like if he walked in like that, wouldn't somebody be like, is that what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know.
Sorry, you're wearing... Eddie, did someone send your suit ahead? Is it somewhere where we can find it? Where do you want your suit?
Get you a dressing room so you can change.
Yeah.
That's the most amazing thing, Noodles, is he's so legendary for being so particular about his skates. He sharpened and resharpened and resharpened his skates. He was the most particular guy when it came to his equipment. And then it's Hall of Fame night. I'll just throw this jacket on with this old shirt. Away we go.
It's all good, man. It's all good. And by the Monday night, he was ready to rock. He was in a suit and he was looking great, Eddie. But
last time the Leafs had a great goaltender.
Yeah, that's
a long time.
That's probably the last that would be the last time they had a Hall of Fame caliber goaltender. Clearly, like
at the end of his career,
right? But he was still really good with the Leafs.
He was good.
Like he was and that was a quick turnaround, right? When Joseph left, they thought he would. They were hoping he would stay.
Yep.
Curtis decided to go to Detroit,
right?
And then
work out.
They're like, all right, we got to find someone, and they found Belfour quick, and he was really, really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So that was how Cujo left. He decided to sign in Detroit.
Yeah, he left for Detroit.
Jason
people upset?
He thought he could win there, where he didn't think he could win here. You know, to be fair, listen, Detroit had won, right? It was it 03? Like after that 02 team, I think he left, and remember it went south on him. Like they ended up bringing Hasek back, and he ended up kind of getting pushed out of Detroit. Right. And I think he said, I believe publicly, that he kind of looks back on that and regrets it. And
he wrote that in his memoir.
Right, that he wishes he stayed in Toronto.
Yeah.
And but it was a quick turnaround because then they went out and got Belfour, and Belfour they didn't really miss a beat in that.
No,
like he was really good.
Yeah, that's a quality goalie to a quality goalie.
Yes,
like, there's no drop off.
Absolutely. All right, Leafs Flames tonight on TSN 4. Joining us now on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Here's our TSN hockey analyst Mike Johnson. How you doing, Johnny?
What's going on, boys? Now, listen, I gave consideration to go with the Willie Nylander TTC route down to the game tonight, but because I had to talk to you, I was worried about getting stuck in the tunnel, so I'm just in a car. But I gave consideration to it to roll with the people.
Well, I appreciate that. I saw Gord Miller. Gord has posted that he is currently on the TTC. He is taking a subway southbound right now. So Gord's looking for that Willie Nylander clout.
He's looking for the Willie love,
Yes.
And posting it while you're doing it, like it's one thing if someone else, hey, look how cool this is. Gordon Miller's on the subway with me while he's minding his own business. That's an entirely different play than check me out, people. I'm a man of the peeps. I'm going to give it to him when I see him in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. He wants people to be like, hey, look at you, Gord Miller. Wow, it's Hall of Fame night. I forgot. You're on. Look at you, southbound.
Yeah. When are you going to the Hall of Fame, Gord? You should belong in there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I actually was on the up train. Like I took the train. I went to morning skate this morning, so I took the up train. I landed from Ottawa and took it down. I mean, the guy was wearing like an up shirt or whatever. He came on and he was like, "Hey, big fan of the show." He yelled it like in front of a bunch of people. I had the headset on. I'm like,
there you go. Did you pay him for that? Because that's clout.
I felt like I should have, but I mean, that up train is pretty quality. I think right from the airport down, like it's just a straight shot.
Great.
You know?
How many people were on it? I've heard there's like a dozen people only. Like nobody's on it. It's always wide open.
From the airport, there wasn't. Once you get down to Weston, like, there's 2 stops. So I can't remember the names of them, but you get a little bit busier. But from the airport down, no, you're right. That gets quiet. And I had to do something and then jumped right back and went back to the airport and went home. But it was the up train. I saw that Willie Nylander thing. Like, it was a big deal. Like, don't people do that all the time in Toronto? Like,
yeah, but it's not like you don't see Drake on the TTC or anything. I mean,
I'll only say this: it seemed like he was mildly overdressed. Like that was a big parka for a like the train is heated. Like you can get by with just a spring coat.
Yes.
Smuggling something in there.
Yeah,
He's wearing his gear. He had his gear on. That's what.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that wasn't. You're right. That was like a January jacket for early November. You know, it does seem
a January outdoor jacket, not let alone indoor jacket.
Right.
Make no mistake. If he's going to the Scotia, you don't have to go outside. You just walk inside the tunnels to get down to the building. But anyways, Derek King, my old teammate when I played here back in the late 90s, early 2000s, now assistant coach of the Blackhawks. He lived up kind of in like the Yonge and Lawrence area, and he took the train every single game to Maple Leaf Gardens. Now, people didn't take pictures. The phones weren't available quite the same way. But, he took them all the time just to zip down, get out at Carlton, and walk over to the Garden. So it's not entirely unprecedented.
Well, it's definitely more predictable. It's supposed to be. I mean, we know that the TTC can have their issues. But that would be terrifying if there was a stop, because that can happen. Like, if you grow up in the city and you take the TTC a lot, it does happen. Like, halfway from one station to another, you're underground, and it stops. And you're thinking, I have no idea when this is going to get going again.
Right.
Like, generally, it's pretty quick, but I've been in there, I'm sure everyone has, where you're sitting there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea of, like, Derek King or William Nylander missing puck drop because they're stuck between, like, Queen and King Station. That would be actually hysterical. And
that would be amazing.
Like, I know they have, like, cell service down there. It still stinks. Like you probably wouldn't be able to get a text out or a call out saying, "Guys, I'm on my way, but I'm stuck. I can't get out of here."
Yeah,
like that. Imagine the panic that would set in that time. I mean, maybe not with Willie; he doesn't panic about anything. But anybody else, be like, and there's nothing you can do.
No,
like, you can't like somehow crawl to freedom. Just like, nope, I'm just staying in here until it moves. But
were you ever late, Johnny? Like, were you ever late for a practice or a game or something where it just you either overslept or there was traffic or something? I can remember one instance where I was not a popular man and it didn't go well, but I forgot. We were flying to Vancouver, but then going on to San Jose, and I forgot my passport. So I got on the charter in Calgary, and as I walked on the plane, I realized I didn't have my passport. So I felt like I was driving 140 miles an hour back home. And when I got back, they delayed the charter for me. The look I got from the head coach and the general manager when I walked on.
Sickening.
Like it was...
Noodles. I have one story, and it's the worst of all time. It was my first trip ever with the team. I just signed out of college, right? So they asked me to go. I played my first game at the Gardens on a Wednesday night. We were flying to Pittsburgh after the game. They asked me if I want to ride. I say, no, just give me the directions. I'm from Toronto. I know where the airport is. I can get there. It's no problem. I'm there plenty of time, and somebody gave me the wrong directions, Noodles. So I was supposed to be there by 11:30. I was there like 11, just driving around the neighborhood of the airport and trying to find this charter service, which I didn't know where that was, but I'm around the airport. Anyways, I finally found the place, like 12, like an hour late, or an hour later. And I run in, I ask the person, like total panicking, I'm speeding, I'm running lights, I'm asking cabbies and cops, and no one's telling me where it is. I run in the building, and I'm like, where's the Leaf plane? Is this it? And they're like, oh, it's gone. Oh. It's my first flight. I've never traveled with the team before. See, I'm basically crying. Like I'm fully in tears. My car's making funny noises. I don't have any money, so I can't even afford a plane ticket to Pittsburgh myself. I'm thinking I have to call my mom. I'm like, Mom, can you get me a plane ticket? I got to go to Pittsburgh. Then the lady comes on like walkie-talkie. He's like, oh no, they're coming to come back for you. Oh. As if that's better. Like I'm like, no, like let them go. I don't want them to come back. So I'm out on the back of the pickup truck with the stairs as if like whatever 727 rolls up. It felt like it was like Dead Man Walking. It was like the Green Mile going up those steps. I turned the corner into the plane, and you talk about the bad look from the coach. You've never heard language like this in your life. I was assaulted verbally from all parts. Like everybody up, like from like the flight attendants to everybody's like, what? Anyways, it was that's the only time, but it was literally the first time I ever tried to travel with the team. Was grotesque.
Can you imagine the grizzled vets on that team? Like, who is this guy? I don't even know his name.
Coming out of college, they don't even have heard of me. I played one game, and I flew back to Tampa because I flew back from Tampa to Ohio to get my car and clothes and stuff. Like that was as I was driving around lost. I kept thinking like, what are they saying about me? This must be the worst. Like just getting crucified for an hour. It was awful. Just the worst.
That's sickening. That is sickening. Well, I mean, we assume everyone will make it on time tonight, right? You got Leafs Flames tonight, Leafs Canucks tomorrow, and a pretty kind of goofy schedule coming up, Johnny, where they're going to Sweden. There's going to be 6 days off. They go over there, they play a couple of games, then they come home, days off. They play in Chicago at 2 p.m. on a Friday, U.S. Thanksgiving. Like, it feels like the next, 24, 28 hours. Yes, it's early November, mid-November, and it could be worse. You could be in Edmonton. You could be in Calgary, San Jose. But this kind of feels like a watershed moment for the Leafs the next 2 nights.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Because they've been sort of circling around a good game, but they haven't really put it together for long stretches in a game, let alone back-to-back games. And, it's early and they're okay, and the middle is so muddy that they're not falling behind or out of the race or anything like that. But they still, they want to get something put together. They want to string something together. And, Calgary's not playing particularly well, although they've won their last couple games, and Vancouver's on the heater of all heaters. But, at some point that will probably have to cool off. So, yeah, they just, if you believe Sheldon Keefe, he thinks they're close. Like they're somehow imminently going to, they're almost there. They're going to click on it. And this would be a nice time to do it because I'm going to Sweden. I'm going to Sweden with the team for the week. And, what should be sort of a fun mid-season break from the monotony and enjoy Stockholm and have Willie run you around to all his favorite restaurants and play a couple games. If they don't do well in the next 28 hours, it's not going to feel like that. It's going to be like a work trip. It's going to be like stressful and grinding, and you'd love to just play 2 good games, win 2 good games, and go to Sweden feeling good about yourself and really be able to enjoy the experience. But if they don't, it'll be an entirely, obviously they're going to have fun, but it'll be an entirely sort of different vibe surrounding this trip they have upcoming because of where they are and how they played.
Johnny, I'm not sure if you're privy to, what they're thinking for tomorrow, but Joseph Woll gets to start. I saw Samsonov this morning out early with the goaltending coach. Like, is there a chance he plays tomorrow? Or do you think if Joseph Woll plays well tonight, they run him in a back-to-back situation based on the schedule?
I think they split. I think they split the goalies. I don't think either one has played well enough. And I know you can, a couple games at home, you can certainly do it. But I just think they're trying to find both of their best games or something close to it. And so I think they'll just keep rotating, especially when it's back-to-back. If you get every other day, then you might start seeing some guys going. Like, they'll probably split in Sweden, even though there's a game between. But I don't think they're at the point yet to really handle it, hand it over to one person or another at this point.
MJ, what did you make of the healthy scratch that is being claimed to be unhealthy for John Klingberg?
Fats, hang on. Don't be sub. Don't be such a conspiracy theorist.
What happened?
Practice.
MJ,
what happened? What happened?
Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's mixed up. Maybe he's dinged up. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I get what you're saying, like a very preemptive, protective measure, sort of by Sheldon Keefe, to suggest right away that he's not 100% healthy and that's why he's not going to play. And I think, like a good coach, guys would appreciate that. Guys would appreciate that sort of consideration that, even though let's say he's not really hurt, he can well keep playing. Guys would like the fact that the coach stood in there and offered up a quick preemptive excuse for him getting scratched, other than we're not happy the way he's playing. So even if it's not entirely true, and there's probably some element of truth to it. Remember, he missed time in training camp, and he's playing like he's not 100%. So we'll say that much. Mm-hmm. They'll appreciate the very Pat Quinn-like measures of protecting the player from the media and from the fans.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening. I mean, he practiced yesterday. There was no indication he wasn't going to play tonight.
No.
And yet, I actually think you're right, Johnny. I said that last hour. I think it's a smart play because it saves him from embarrassment. It saves right the team. Right. He's a new player. They just signed him, and now 13 games in, all of a sudden he's out. And it also opens the door for maybe he doesn't go in tomorrow because he's still injured, as opposed to another.
Buys you flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, if it's just a straight healthy scratch, then every day, when are you going to get him back in? When are you going to play him again? How is the guy who's playing instead of him? Is he playing better than Klingberg? So, yes, I think Dave, you're probably correct. I'm sure he's physically capable of playing. If he had his pick, he would play. It's not like he's saying I can't, but I appreciate what Sheldon's trying to do there. And so would the team, even if everyone can kind of read between the lines and see that it's not entirely forthright.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, listen, this is it feels like Sheldon Keefe has softened his stance on the way they're playing the last couple of days.
He seemed pissed the other night.
He was furious the other night.
Well, you know what, guys? Like, he acknowledged that he was, in fact, he was hot after the game. Mm-hmm. He was hot after the game the other night and just disappointed and not pleased with how they played. But, and again, this I do believe. I do believe this to be genuine. Like, in the moment, you're on behind the bench. Noodles, you know what it's like down there. There's a lot happening, and you think you're processing what you're seeing, but maybe you don't see it exactly as it is. And when you take a step back, you watch the video, you look at the numbers, like, hey, listen, we didn't give up that many chances. We didn't, we didn't play that poorly. Yeah, it's a bad result. Our goaltender was not good the other night, but the gut reaction was probably stronger than warranted given maybe the quality of play that the numbers and the video on the second time through showed. So, I think, but I also think, again, it's sort of like Sheldon's walking the line where he wants to be firm. He's talking about we need our top players to be more focused on goals against and not so much goals for. So he's trying to be firm, but he's also not trying to act like panicky or that things are dire. He's also trying to infuse confidence and massage the messaging for his team and maybe for the media that, they're not that far off. So, he's probably trying to do both things, but he was absolutely hot. But he, even talking to him off camera, he did sort of back off that sentiment.
Are you surprised, MJ, though? There was another option here And Keefe talked about the fact that they considered going 11-7. In other words, leaving Klingberg in, but maybe giving him less minutes and less of a role as the 7th D, and then removing another guy who's been a massive minus in Ryan Reeves, presumably, and yet Reeves is going to play tonight. What do you make of that?
I mean, there's going to be fallout from either decision, right?
Yeah.
So it's either a Klingberg conversation, which people kind of would be okay with, or it's a Reeves conversation that people would probably be okay with. But, what's the room going to react like? And, and I also think there's an element that the Leafs have acknowledged that their best guys were probably playing a little too much. And so if you go 11-7, you're going to dump an extra 2 or 3 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, 3 minutes to the top players. And I think they're already being mindful of overtaxing those guys. So maybe just to have that idea, like, I don't know how much Ryan Reeves plays in 5-on-5. He might play 6, 7, 8 minutes, but they don't want to dump that on Marner and Nylander, even though those guys would love it. I think Sheldon wants to try to have some sort of continuity. He's talked about, rolling shifts over and making good decisions and proper changes and like a whole bunch of little things that go into being a better team. And when you get going 11-7, it does disrupt some of that continuity that he's after.
With Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. Again, Hockey Hall of Fame weekend. The Hall of Famers will be out there tonight. They will be inducted on Monday. You would think by this point Jaromir Jagr would have been in the Hall of Fame, but he keeps
crazy.
He keeps playing pro. Yeah, so he can't be inducted until I think like 2026 or something. It was announced today Pittsburgh's going to retire his number 68, which you go back and look at his numbers there. They were truly remarkable. Ridiculous. Yet he seemingly played everywhere.
Yeah.
And it seems so distant from his days in Pitt. Like, I don't... Do you associate Jagr with the Penguins, or is there another team or teams that you would reach for first when you mention his name?
No, I still probably go to Pittsburgh initially. The mullet, the finals against Chicago. I know he was really young, but, that story where he burst on the scene and that crazy good team with Mario and all the other Czech players they had there for a while. They basically had the Czech national team going there. We had a Czech-speaking coach, the whole bit.
Right.
I think of... I still think of... I played him in the playoffs with the Leafs when he was at Pittsburgh. I still think that. But I think, if nothing else, for a guy who had this sort of carefree attitude about the way he carried himself, like he wasn't that concerned about hockey, God, does he love hockey. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a contradiction. He sort of just when he started out, it was just everything was fun and easy and whatever. Not a guy who would be playing till he's 50-something years old and playing for a dozen different NHL teams just because he loves it so much. I guess that's what when the fact that he's not Hall of Fame eligible yet just tells you how much he loves to play.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You say, I'm looking at it, 9 different organizations. I forgot he played for Calgary for 22 games. Florida, I feel like he had a resurgence there in Florida, though. I'm looking at his stats. He had 27 goals, 39 assists, 66 points in 79 games. That was when I think Barkov and Huberdeau were like youngsters, and he was kind of like the old dog.
Noodles? He famously had the key to the building, and he'd always go and skate at 10 o'clock at night. And he did these weird practice times. He'd be out there working on his edges, and all the young players were marveling at this 35-year-old who was on the ice 3 times a day. Yeah, it was kind of when everyone sort of realized that he wasn't just the guy who going all over the place. And the fact that he went to Russia.
Yes.
For how many years in Russia, Noodles? Either for 3 years?
3 or 4 years, yeah.
In his prime.
He would have been putting up 100-plus points a year during those years, and he just took off for the money, I think, primarily, to play in the KHL. And I think what his stats might be like if he had those 4 years tacked onto his NHL resume.
Wild.
Impressive.
Wild. And that he was chasing money, considering he got the biggest deal ever when he went to Washington, I believe, at the time. And then New York, he was getting paid. It was like that. Pitt, Washington, New York. That's
heavy expenses.
Heavy expenses.
Yeah.
I feel like he got... When he went to the K, that seemed like a suitcase full of cash, directly from the league type of thing.
Yes.
That was...
100%. Right for the president of the country.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It worked out for him. It worked out for all parties involved in the end.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny. It's going to be a good one tonight. Enjoy it down there. Should be a great atmosphere and should be a fun weekend. We'll do it again next week.
All right, boys. Have a great weekend.
Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com.
I played with him. I got traded to the Rangers. He was there. I remember taking him out. Like, we went to the bar. I went to the bar with Jaromir Jagr.
Wow.
And he was like, I don't know, he's coming off a relationship. He's kind of quiet and stuff. Like, and I was just not, to put it that way.
You're in New York and
I was
feeling
in the exact opposite. Like, I took him to this bar. Like, to this day, every time I see him, he calls me psycho. I'm like, what was so psycho about going out and having a good time? Like,
yeah.
And he just, he didn't see my humor in going to these bars and stuff. And
well, that's a shame.
we had a good time. We had a good time. He was a very, very nice guy. You're not wrong. Like, he would practice sometimes. He'd go work out at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
He'd go back to the rink. And,
Beast, man.
Yeah, very
good
person.
player.
There was a day where he was showing some of us, he was showing some reporters all the little drills he'd do in those. Because James Van Riemsdyk, when he was in Toronto, he'd played with him in Philly and talked about he called it like the Jaromir Jagr hockey school. Like, you go to the rink with Jagr and he'd teach you all kinds of little tricks. But he put like a weight, like a 5-pound weight on the end of his stick and do all kinds of drills with a weighted stick. And Van Riemsdyk said he'd never seen that before, but it really helped his hands in tight and he was able to improve his game. And guy was a revolution. Guy won 5 scoring titles in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's right. Like, when you consider, like, late 90s, it was his league.
Yeah.
You know, like, he wasn't winning necessarily. That was more Yzerman and Sakic, but like that, it kind of went Gretzky dominant, Lemieux dominant, then it was like Jagr dominant in terms of offensive explosion. Yeah. And just like every year, you're like, this guy's going to put up monster numbers.
Yeah, and he got the 2 early cups with Lemieux, right? So
yeah, exactly. No, he's obviously a first ballot Lock Hall of Famer, but he's got to stop playing professionally for that to happen.
I think the day he decides to retire, don't you just go?
Yeah,
you're in.
Yes,
like,
just
you know,
go
like,
in. Yeah.
You know, like, I would waive the 4-year, whatever it is, the buffer, like, for him, because he hasn't played. He's been playing, like, with his own team and stuff that he owns back there. Like, it's not like he's been playing at the highest level, although he's, you know, I guess that would be considered Kladno Knights.
Czech Republic,
but it'd be pretty decent. But I think you should just go in.
Yeah, like, everyone's waiting for him to go in. They know what he's about. They know he's going in. Exactly.
Yeah.
McLennan Fridays brought to you by Boston Pizza's new square footer pizzas. BP is reinventing the wheel with our 3 new square footer pizzas. An entire square foot of more cheese, crunch, and taste. These new pizzas are an absolute must-try at your local BP tonight. All right, Luke Willson still to come. Ryan Dinwiddie still to come. The Argos in action tomorrow down at BMO Field. We'll start teeing that up. Big weekend in the CFL, big weekend in the NFL, the NHL. Raptors in Boston tomorrow. It's going to be a great weekend. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Ryan Dinwiddie coming up in just over half an hour. 16-2, man. That must have been a fun ride.
Yeah.
We got to ask him, like...
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, and I know he's going to be careful, and you can't put the cart before the horse. Yeah. The last thing he wants him thinking or his players thinking is, what are we possibly going to achieve here if we find a way to win the next 2 games? But there are legit, like, CFL historians saying we're talking greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
Like
but you're 2 wins away.
But you still got to get there.
2 wins away from being the greatest team of all time.
Exactly. You can't go talk to the 73-win Warriors, man. They're not the greatest team of all time. You lost.
I know.
You know, you lost in 7 against LeBron in the finals, but you lost. So you got to win, man. You got to close. And obviously every team would like to be in that position where it's like, okay, you're at home, you're a great team, you're healthy, you're ready to play.
10.5-point favorite.
It's a massive favorite, yet the pressure is all on the Argos.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's all on the Argos. And it's going to be until they wrap up their season. So we'll see. We'll see what Dinwiddie's got to say about it.
I mean, it's exciting. Hopefully, is the weather supposed to hold up? That's a 3:00 game tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I haven't looked. Noodles. Ever since I put my golf clubs away, I don't even look at the app anymore.
You don't care about the weather at all?
No, I couldn't care less. I used to study it, like from the beginning of April until the end of October. I could tell you where the wind is blowing in 14 days.
Hour by hour.
Hour by hour. At 11 a.m., 14 days from now, it's going to be coming in from the northeast, 40% chance. I could tell you
everything. You're going to be hitting a 3-iron instead of a 4-iron.
Exactly. But now, like, it could be a any storm possible outside right now. I would have no idea.
Looks like it's going to be nice, Noodles.
Oh, there you go.
6 Celsius and partly cloudy. But
Isn't that great?
6, that's not bad for
Isn't
a
that
fall
great?
day.
That's perfect for football.
I hope
Perfect
it'll be
football weather.
rammed to the gills. I think it'd be awesome. I'm supposed to go, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so Ryan Dinwiddie in about a half an hour. Are we doing Luke now? Is that the plan here? We got Luke Willson? Okay. Luke was being petty earlier on the group
Really?
chat. Yeah.
Was he?
It was actually borderline pathetic. Do you want to explain what happened, or should I?
Are you talking to me? First
Yeah,
and
I'm talking-
foremost,
I'm
the
talking
fact
to
that
you.
I just had to sit through CFL chat is unacceptable.
Oh, come
Okay,
on.
I mean,
Come
are
on,
you
dude.
kidding me here, guys? And
Come-
that's terrible, terrible juju for you this weekend, Hayes.
No, it's
It's
not.
terrible.
No, it's
And
not.
secondly, what happened to group chat today might be the biggest fraudulent activity I've ever experienced in my entire life, not just on this show. This man tried to snake his way out of picking the toughest game of the weekend.
I hate that game, man. I hate it. It's the 1 o'clock
Yeah.
game. It's the Ravens
And he
have been
tries to
jamming us
lie.
for weeks. I know. Well, we've played it a lot, right? This is an entertainment show, right? I mean, we know that, and we keep playing the Ravens in the 1 o'clock window. And I think the people want a different game. Personally, I'm
The
speaking
people
for the
don't
fans.
want a different game. The people want to see you pick a division game,
Yeah.
good on good. Who's going to get the spread? You think that I was going to fall for that nonsense?
It was. I was trying, man. I'm trying. Like last night, I got squeezed. Every book, basically in North America, had Bears -3.5, except for the book we use, where it was Bears -3. So I got a push last night. I guess in the end, it didn't matter who I picked, but that was the right pick. Bears at 3.5. It was the Panthers all day, and that game was horrible last night.
Bad game.
Like that just
Yeah.
it was exactly what we anticipated it would be, right? Bears Panthers Thursday night short week. That's what was last night. That's what happened.
To a degree, Hayes, and just hear me out on this. Okay? This is where I was very, very annoyed yesterday watching this game. Is if I'm Frank Reich, I'm sitting here, you've traded away your first-round pick. So, not that this is even a thought in coaches' heads, but it's not like, hey, we can kind of tank here and get the first pick overall. That has nothing to do with it. You don't have that. You're sitting at 1-7. The chances of you making the playoffs are probably at this point 0.1%. Now 0. Why not go out there and say, hey, Bryce Young, you might throw 4 picks tonight, but you're going to learn.
Yeah.
I want you slinging the ball down the field. I'm going to take – at the end of the game, I think he threw it 38 times or something, but a lot of checkdowns, a lot of just very, very conservative play calling. Why not sit here and say, you got to learn somehow? This is a prime example of how to do it. This Bears defense going into the game had given up the second most pass yards in the NFL by 1 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, let this kid go out there and sling it. If he throws 5 picks, who cares?
I agree.
You're going to stick with him. You're not going to be like, oh, this kid's not working out. Prime example for me, Peyton Manning, rookie year, 28 interceptions. 28. It's like, I'm listening to Frank Reich at the halftime, and he's like, we just want to make a couple plays late in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, this isn't a game manager you drafted. You don't draft someone first overall to manage a game and make a few plays down the stretch.
Well,
let this kid go out here and sling the ball around.
On top of that, he has a Nathaniel Hackett moment on 4th and 10 and tries to kick a field goal from 59 yards.
What was that all about?
Or whatever it was. It's like he's
another one?
Yeah.
Yes. What's crazy about that, Hayes, is, and again, I'm sitting there watching it last night, and I've got my arms crossed. I'm like, does this kid have the leg for this? Every single game that I've been in, going into the game, my rookie years, it was Stephen Hauschka and our special teams coach go right to Pete Carroll, and he'd say, if we're going this way, what's your line? And Stephen Hauschka would give him a number. If we're going X way, the opposite way, what yard line is it? And he'd give him like a little range, like, bam, got it for sure. This yard line, it's a complete toss-up. And it's like, that kick wasn't even close.
no.
But he needed another 15 yards.
It was if you
And
look
it's just,
if you look at his face, Luke, it was hilarious. The kicker basically looked at Reich and said, "You're a dopey idiot for thinking I was making that." Like he basically threw up his hand and is like, "What did you think I was going to make that?" Like it's outdoors. It's the Windy City. It's literally called that.
Yes.
He's kicking into the wind like 59 yards.
It was, again,
Crazy.
like, I watched the game, and I didn't expect much, neither did any of us. But, like, I sit here, and I'm like, why are you trying to pull out, like, a Bill Belichick chess game when you have no hope in making the playoffs? You do not have your first pick. You traded it to the Bears. Like, the only thing that matters if you're the Carolina Panthers at this moment, not the only thing, but the main thing, is the development of Bryce Young. You picked him first overall. He's supposed to be your guy for hopefully the next 15 years. You know, they're hoping, I'm not saying this will happen, that he'll be the face of the league. And you roll out there against a trash pass defense and have him throwing 5-yard routes the whole game because, what, you're afraid that he might make mistakes? You lost anyways. Who cares?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah, I
it's a
agree
ridiculous
with you.
idea.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, that's a push last night, so that just gets basically cleared off the slate.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means I can't go 6-0 this week, but I'll go 5-0. That's fine. Let's get to the picks here.
You've had 2 games in a row where you've picked a team that has returned a punt for a touchdown.
Yeah, so
Hey, why not?
the only thing memorable about last night.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, listen, a push is a push is a push. I wasn't happy either, but it's all good.
Neither was Al Michaels. How downbeat was Al Michaels on that punt return?
He was like, oh, great. It's,
Here we go.
Nice.
He wasn't
He's in the end
happy. He's pretty crusty, that Al Michaels.
He's so great. He's got nothing left to prove, or he doesn't care. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, when's Jason Kelsey coming up? Let's talk about Taylor
He
Swift.
got excited for that. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he was jacked
He did.
for
He
Kelsey. All right, so you guys have, this is a beauty. Colts laying 1.5 against the Patriots in Germany. So Bill Belichick, shirts on in Frankfurt.
That
Colts,
was something else.
You guys are on the clock with this pick. Who do you like and why?
I mean, I'm going with the Colts, and I know usually I have an answer here, but the reality is I have no idea.
No.
I don't know why I'm going with the Colts. I'm pretty much not going with the Pats. I know they've had some issues and drama. Things are going poorly. The Colts have played teams tough. I mean, it's in Germany. I've got no football knowledge to spill on you here. I'm going with the Colts because to me it's flip a coin. And I'm just being honest. I have no clue what's going to happen. 2 terrible teams.
It's awful.
Well, the coach, he might be a little bit lighter in the step, feeling pretty good about himself. Had himself some good time. Like, he might coach the game of his life. You never know.
Yeah, you're right, Noodles. He might.
We might get fired.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Yes.
You might, right? No hoodies, man. No hoodie free. Okay, so I've got the 1 o'clock game, and this was the one that was in question earlier. But we're going with Browns-Ravens, and this is why I dislike this game, because we've both been burned in the exact same situation. It was you guys with Detroit a few weeks ago. Detroit is a good team. They went into Baltimore, I want to say it was a 6-point spread. They got their doors blown off. Last week, Seattle, it was a 5.5-point spread. Seattle's a good team. They went into Baltimore, they got crushed. Now it's Cleveland. And the spread is 6.5 again. And Cleveland's a good team, an elite defensive team.
Yeah.
Elite defensive team. And Deshaun Watson, I believe, is going to play. But I said after watching that game last week, unless it's the Chiefs, the Bengals, or the Eagles, if it's the Ravens at home and you only have to give up less than a touchdown, I won't make that mistake again. I'm going to take Baltimore here. I think they're the best team in the NFL right now in terms of the way they're playing on both sides of the ball. Special teams, Harbaugh's got them cooking. I think John Harbaugh's going to step up for his brother Jim because Jim is getting screwed.
Oh.
Right? The Big Ten just sent him packing, man. The Wolverines have a huge game at Penn State tomorrow, and Jim Harbaugh can't be coaching. He's not going to be on the sideline. But listen, I like Cleveland. Again, I think Cleveland's had a very impressive year. But the Ravens have been remarkable, and especially at home. I think Lamar keeps cooking. I think Lamar has a big game. And as of Sunday at around 4 o'clock, he's the leader in the clubhouse for winning the MVP this year. So I will lay the points, Ravens 6.5.
What you just said for once is actually good fundamental, football pick. The only thing I think you're missing here is that compared to the last 2 teams, this is a divisional team.
Yes,
it is very hard to blow out divisional teams, Hayes. You should know that.
I understand.
That's why the Ravens are probably going to win by 6. You're going to get burned by the 5.5 points. And just like that, after Colts take care of business, we're going to be rolling. We're going to be +2 on Sunday going into the 4:00 game.
All right. Well, and you guys have a layup because Horvat is now on the tape. It doesn't matter who's behind the glass. These guys are always going to make sure that isn't it nauseating, Feschuk? It's nauseating because this might be the layup of the year. Lions at Chargers. Lions laying 3 in LA. Your pick. Who do you like and why?
This is not the layup of the year.
Yes, it is.
I'm taking the Lions, but I am mortified that the Chargers are going to win.
No, they're not. It's Detroit off a bye all day. All day. Chargers can't beat good teams. They can't.
I agree. But I'll tell you what exactly this has the makings of. Detroit coming out here, dominating, getting up. I do worry about Detroit's pass defense, and all of a sudden, Detroit's up, let's call it, 12 or something weird because Brandon Staley did something absurd, and it's a backdoor, like, Herbert throws a TD to go down 2 with like 15 seconds left. I'm very nervous about that, but I'm definitely taking the Lions here, like you said.
Yep.
Hopefully it stays the same. New Lions, Dan Campbell coming off a bye, but I don't think it's the layup of the year.
It may not be the layup of the year, but I think Detroit is a good team. The last time we saw them, obviously, it didn't go so well. Coming off a bye. Chargers against good teams, they're fraudulent.
Yeah.
Right? They beat up on bad teams.
Never happens.
Never happens. Their pass defense is not great in L.A., as we've stated many times. I think Jared Goff goes off. I think the Lions win. I think they might win big. All right, the Sunday nighter, this is a sickening game. Yeah, it's disgusting. Jets at Raiders. Like, what does the flex exist for if this game's being played?
Seriously.
Like, what's the explanation for this not being flexed into Saturday? Forget Sunday night.
I don't know. And what's also unfortunate, even for our picks, is it's just like, and it's not Horvat's fault here, it's just the nature of the beast. But like, we got to pick the Colts in New England. Mm-hmm. Last night you got to pick Carolina and Chicago.
Oh.
Now you got to pick, I call them Oakland, Vegas, and the Jets. I mean, these are gross games. Yeah. And when you have teams that are this much of a wild card, like, what do you base your picks on?
Well,
who knows what's going to happen?
No, I think I'm going to base this on two things. I'm going to take the Raiders here for 2 reasons. One, they're at home. 2, it's Antonio Pierce, who appears to have brought some sort of new lease on life. Right, them getting rid of McDaniels alone is a massive boost. And
Agreed.
I think, you look at the pass rush in Vegas, Max Crosby in particular, that line for the Jets, I just don't see how Zach Wilson, who they continue to play, and I don't believe Salah wants to play, he's going to be running for his life. Yeah. I think he runs for his life under the lights in Vegas. It's basically a pick 'em. I'm actually getting a point here. It's not like the Raiders are any good, but the Jets aren't either. I could see this being 19-17, kind of like last night, 19-16 Vegas. Like, I think it's a low-scoring, painstaking game, but I'll take the home team getting points against a terrible offense like New York. So I will take the Raiders.
I mean, again, my argument to that, which would be, I think it's going to come down to whoever has that one play. I mean, I agree with everything you say, but whoever has that punt return or the crucial fumble is going to win this game. It's going to be a gross game. I do think that it'll be a crazy amount of rushing. Both quarterbacks, I think, are going to struggle to throw the ball. So it's really going to come over to who makes the one play defensively, which is not really what I like watching on Sunday night.
No kidding.
And it's very annoying.
Yeah, it's got to be flexed out. Like, this kind of stuff can't continue. Like, Roger Goodell needs to figure it out. It cannot continue. But as for this week, that's what we got. And the picks are in, and I actually feel pretty good. Even after all that, I feel pretty good about my chances of, at a minimum, making up points, right? I'm -5 right now. I would say I'm probably -3 as of Monday. You guys will puke away the Monday nighter. I'll be -2. And by this time next week, I'm feeling great. So that's the plan.
Monday nighter, obviously we're going to get to that, but that's going to be another strange call.
I don't like that game, man.
They have not covered well. I think of that Tampa Bay game that I believe we ended up picking.
That's right.
And kind of got away with one there. Gross.
I think Denver off a bye, and the last time we saw them, they won a game and actually looked pretty good. I'd take the points personally, but not my game. Not my game, so it's all good. It's all good.
I'll have to look into it.
Okay, you do your thing. All right, we'll catch you on the group chat on Sunday. Have a great weekend, buddy.
That's good. All right, cheers.
All right, there's Luke Willson. with his partner not here, right? The O-Dog
Yeah.
would be here antagonizing people and bothering people, but he's
Well,
not.
and the Colts pick, it seemed like you just flipped the coin.
dartboard.
That was it, yeah.
The dartboard.
I don't know.
I love
That's-
Belichick these days, man. I think Bill will be in great form. I like
Well,
Bill.
I'm sure you got into it yesterday, that walk of shame or whatever.
Well, no one knows what the video really is. Like, it's just him walking around without a shirt on.
But it looks. Did you see the area?
Weird.
He looks like he's in Southie. Like
Yeah.
Like that looked like a scene from Good Will Hunting.
Right, or
Where,
Trailer
you-
Park Boys or something.
Yeah, you walk out like of a gritty, grizzled place, and I don't know what he was doing, but like that's from like a Ring camera, right? Like somebody's Ring camera.
Yeah,
Like, just a weird.
I don't know
setup.
how anyone even got that type of video, but hey,
Yeah.
in the end, it's all good. Bill Belichick, nothing wrong with that. Living
No.
your life, living your best life, possibly.
right.
All right, OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Ryan Didwitty coming up. Argos, Alouettes tomorrow. Leafs in action tonight. Leafs in action tomorrow. Raptors in action tomorrow. It's gonna be a great sports weekend.
Gonna be awesome.
Yeah, got our best bets brought to you by FanDuel still to come, and actually pretty special day in Leaf history. So we're going to give away a pair of Leaf tickets in the next hour, right, with our final Leaf player of the Leaf lineup, and it's attached to some history. So we got a little video that we'll get to. We'll touch
I
on
saw
that in the
that.
next
I
hour.
know.
That's a
Video.
great one. One of the
Good
great
video.
moments in Leaf history. All right, that's coming up in the final hour. OverDrive
Yeah.
continues. TSN 1050, soon to be up on TSN 2.